Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about one-digit division. So go ahead and find yourself two different colored markers, and we're going to get started on this topic today. So the steps for division we can remember with dad, mother, sister, brother. This is called the division family, and this will help you remember the steps of division. So dad stands for divide. So when we divide, that's when we come over here and we say, how many times will 4 go into 3? Well, we know that 4 is bigger than 3. 4 won't go into 3. It goes in 0 times. So that's our division step. The next step, mother, stands for multiply. So I'm going to put my little times sign right up here. And now I'm going to multiply. 0 times 4 is 0. Next step, sister, stands for subtract. So we'll subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. And brother stands for bring down. So we have divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Those are the steps. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 9. And I'm just going to do that in my second color so that you can see we brought down the 9, and now we have the number 39. So we come back up to the top again and we do our steps all over. Divide. That's where we say how many times does 4 go into 39. Well, I know that 9 times 4 is 36. So now we multiply. 9 times 4 is 36. And we subtract. Going through the steps, 9 minus 6 is 3, and you can do 3 minus 3 is 0, but you don't have to. And then we bring down our 2. And we get the number 32. And then we go all the way back to the top again, and we're at divide. That's where we say how many times does 4 go into 32? 8. 8 times 4 is 32. We just multiplied. Now we subtract. 32 minus 32 is 0. And bring down. It's the same steps over and over. How many times does 4 go into 1? Well, I know 4 is bigger than 1. So it goes in 0 times. We just divided. Now we multiply. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And there's nothing else to bring down. So that 1 is now my remainder. So my answer is 980, remainder 1. Now this grid paper is real good about keeping your numbers lined up. You see how we have a number over each digit in our dividend? Okay, that's real important that we keep those numbers lined up even if we're not doing it on grid paper, because when we start with decimals here in a couple of weeks, where our digits are will be very important. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at some of our practice problems, and we're going to do these same steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, but we'll go ahead and do a couple of practice problems. So why don't you go ahead and pause right here. You try the first one, see how far you can get. When you're done, or if you get stuck, go ahead and start it back up and we'll check your answer. Okay, so we have 145 divided by 6. My first step is to divide. How many times does 6 go into 1? 0. I'll put my times sign. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And bring down my 4. Going back up to dad. Dad division. Now we divide. How many times does 6 go into 14? Right, 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. What's the next step? You're right, subtract. Okay, 14 minus 12, or 4 minus 2 is 2. Subtract. And final step is brother, bring down. And we're back up to dad again. How many times does 6 go into 25? 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. We just multiplied. Subtract. Okay, and we don't have anything else to bring down, so we've got our remainder of 1. Okay, so what this basically means when we're talking about division is that we have 24 groups, or we have 24 in each group, and there's 1 left over. 1 that did not fit. Okay, so go ahead and pause. Try your next problem. Okay, 215 divided by 2. We're going to divide. First step, how many times does 2 go into 2? Well, only 1 time. So I'm going to put my 1, my times sign. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract. Bring down my 1. How many times does 2 go into 1? Oh, that's kind of tricky. Well, 2 is bigger than 1. Right, it goes in 0 times. 0 times 2 is 0. Next step is to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And we bring down our 5. Okay, and we're ready to divide again. 2 goes into 15. How many times? Absolutely right, 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. And I have 1 left over. I don't have anything else to bring down, so I have a remainder of 1. Okay, go ahead and pause and give that last problem a try. Okay, 634 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go into 6? 1 time. 1 times 5 is 5. We subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. And I'm going to bring down my 3. Okay, 5 into 13. That's my division step. How many times does it go? Absolutely right, 2 times. 3 times would be too much. 3 times 5 is 15. That'd be too big, so it only goes in 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. I'll subtract, get my 3, and I'll bring down this 4. Okay, 5 into 34 goes in 6 times. 7 times would be too much. 6 times 5 is 30. And we'll subtract, and I get a remainder of 4. Okay, good job.